Ravens. The Ravens were planning to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round with the 141st overall selection. But when he found out, he got word back to the Ravens that he preferred not to go to a place where he would be competing and backing up Lamar Jackson. He wanted to be in a place that he could play. And so when the Ravens got that message, they pivoted, went a different direction with the 141st overall selection. And 3 picks later, the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, who will be in Baltimore today, where he could have been spending his NFL career if he were willing to back up Lamar Jackson.
Fast forward recently to Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, goes viral, but not for football, but for how he structured his contract. He had an equity clause in his deal with Gatorade. That clause basically said, I'm not just here as a name or a body. I want part of what's being built off of me. I want ownership in the outcome. So that clause essentially just preserved his interest. And he didn't walk away with just a one-time check. He walked away with his corrected status in the contract, and he claimed his equity.
The Cleveland Browns are officially spinning out of control, and it's wild to watch. Rumor has it, Shedeur Sanders just got slapped with a mind-blowing $90 million offer to dip out. And now Cleveland's front office is sweating bullets like a rookie kicker in double overtime. Imagine this. You pour every dollar, every ounce of hype, and every headline into your so-called franchise savior, only for another team to roll up like a billionaire flexing monopoly money on steroids. The execs are in panic mode, the fan base is seconds away from a meltdown, and Shedeur, he's probably somewhere practicing that money dance in the mirror with a smirk that says, I told you so. The NFL just turned into a soap opera with a billionaire twist, and sitting dead center in this storm is none other than Shedeur Sanders himself, Cleveland's golden ticket, who's now looking more like prime rib tossed into a shark tank. The feeding frenzy has started, and every team wants a bite. But here's where it gets ruthless. This isn't some regular, hey man, we want you type of deal. Nah. This is franchise-shaking, legacy-altering warfare. The offer reportedly includes $65 million guaranteed, endorsement deals so bright they'd make Michael Jordan's sneaker empire look humble, and total freedom to run the offense his way. Picture this, the Browns sitting there wide-eyed, jaws on the floor, realizing the man they crowned as their savior is suddenly being chased like he's the NFL's own Beyonce, and just like that, Cleveland's fantasy of a comeback season is crumbling in real time. Meanwhile, Jimmy Haslam, the Browns' top dog, is reportedly reacting like someone told him the IRS is about to audit every cent he's ever burned on busted quarterbacks. Word on the inside is that Volcanic doesn't even begin to describe his meltdown. He's been calling emergency meetings like it's the Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0, barking orders, flipping papers, and pacing hallways while assistants try not to make eye contact. The Browns front office looks like a scene straight out of a disaster movie. Phones lighting up nonstop, executives pacing like zombies, and interns sweating through 1,000-thread dress shirts. It's pure chaos. Imagine rats scrambling on a sinking ship, except these rats are rocking $5,000 suits, designer watches, and still can't figure out how to patch a single hole. And everyone's asking the same question, how did it get this bad? Simple. One man, Kevin Stefanski, the so-called mastermind who watched Shedeur Sanders tear up defenses with nearly a 70% completion rate and still said, nah, we're sticking with Dillon Gabriel. Seriously? That's not strategy, that's straight sabotage. Under the blinding lights of national TV, Cleveland's offense folded like a cheap lawn chair at a backyard barbecue. It was ugly, real ugly. While Shedeur Sanders was stuck on the sideline doing warm-up drills just to stay awake, Baltimore defenders were laughing mid-game, taunting like it was a scrimmage instead of a showdown. Coaches on the headsets were mocking plays out loud, and ex-players on Twitter were roasting the Browns so bad you'd think it was open mic night. Even the Water Boys probably started checking job openings in Baltimore at halftime. And through all that humiliation, Kevin Stefanski still clung to Dillon Gabriel like a toddler refusing to let go of his favorite blanket. He acted like his precious system mattered more than actual results. Pure madness. But Shedeur Sanders wasn't built to sit quiet. Word is, right after the game, he stormed straight into Stefanski's office and the whole building could hear the shouting. Insiders say that argument blew up instantly. Voices raised, doors slammed, the air so tense you could slice it with a playbook. Stefanski tried to defend his broken system, throwing out excuses, but Shedeur hit him with the one stat that shut it all down: the scoreboard. Minutes later, Sanders walked out of the facility without a word to anyone. No waves, no nods, nothing. Just silence that screamed louder than any press conference ever could. The message was crystal clear. Cleveland's so-called golden boy had officially hit his breaking point. The fallout hit faster than a kickoff return gone wrong. The offensive linemen, the ones who put their bodies on the line every single snap to protect Shedeur, were fuming at the thought of him walking away. Receivers, who'd been living off his laser-accurate throws, were suddenly panicking, realizing that without him, their stats might vanish faster than a Snapchat story. And the defensive guys, they'd had enough of carrying an offense so predictable it could have been called out by fans in the stands. Tension exploded inside the locker room, helmets flying, curses echoing, and tempers boiling. One veteran reportedly dropped a bomb so cold it froze the room. If Shedeur leaves, they might as well bulldoze the stadium and turn it into a parking lot. That's how broken it got. Unity gone, morale buried, and loyalty hanging by a thread. Cleveland wasn't just a football team anymore. It was a full-blown reality show with players picking sides like it was a season finale cliffhanger. But it didn't stop there. The chaos spilled into the streets and straight onto social media. Fans completely lost their minds. Hashtags with Shedeur's name started trending worldwide like a pop star scandal. Petitions demanding Stefanski's firing spread faster than Girl Scout cookie forms, racking up over 100,000 signatures overnight. Browns fans were raging. They'd rather freeze solid at First Energy Stadium than sit through another minute of Dylan Gabriel pretending to run this offense. Season ticket holders were threatening cancellations like it was a political protest, and the fury just kept building with no end in sight. The meltdown isn't just happening on the field anymore. It's turning into a full-blown...
Or put him on the practice squad and somebody picks him up, he's going to come back to bite him in the butt, man. But this is asinine what they're doing to Shedeur Sanders, man. This is terrible. They're not even giving him an opportunity to run the scout team. They got Bailey Zappi. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Bailey Zappi running the scout team. He's getting more reps than Shedeur Sanders, and you drafted Shedeur Sanders. Making
financial disaster. And if there's one thing NFL owners fear more than losing games, it's watching their money go up in smoke. Because let's be real, Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback. He's a walking ATM in cleats. From the moment he stepped into Cleveland, the numbers went insane. Jersey sales shattered franchise records, ticket renewals spiked like crypto in 2021, and suddenly the Browns, once the NFL's forgotten middle child, became must-watch TV every single week. Try avoiding Shedeur highlights? Impossible. He's everywhere. On your feed, on your TV, in every conversation that starts with, "Did you see what he just did?" And now imagine the chaos if Cleveland loses him. The team that signs Shedeur doesn't just get a quarterback. They're basically buying Apple stock with a throwing arm. That rumored $90 million offer isn't some wild splurge. It's a straight-up investment in a money-printing machine. Whoever lands him won't just win games. They'll own headlines, fill stadiums, and turn merch stores into gold mines overnight. So who's circling like vultures over fresh meat? Oh, take your pick. The list is wild. The Cowboys are drooling like it's Thanksgiving dinner, and word is Jerry Jones hasn't seen a shiny new toy this tempting since the day he bought that yacht with a helicopter pad on top. He's obsessed with Flash, and Shedeur fits that bill like a glove. Then there's Miami, where the Dolphins are sniffing around hard, because apparently winning with Tua just doesn't scratch that superstar itch anymore. They want lights, cameras, and chaos, and Shedeur brings all three. Over in Vegas, the Raiders are practically begging for a face to save the franchise. Because let's be honest, Sin City loves drama, and Shedeur Sanders would be the perfect poster boy for that neon madness. And don't sleep on the Jets. Those guys are chasing relevance like a stray dog, chasing every passing car. But this time, it looks like Shedeur might be the one car they could actually catch. Multiple franchises are already locked in what insiders are calling a bidding war on steroids, and with every new rumor, that price tag just keeps climbing higher and higher. This isn't a recruitment anymore. This is a hostage-style auction for the most valuable young star in the entire league. And through all the chaos, Shedeur himself has gone completely silent, dead silent. No tweets, no training clips, no behind-the-scenes videos, not even a cryptic emoji post. For a guy who usually floods social media with energy and swagger, his sudden silence is deafening. People close to him say he's laser-focused, weighing his options, whether to endure Cleveland's circus or accept royal treatment somewhere else. And to crank the tension up even more, veteran quarterbacks, yes, Super Bowl winners, are reportedly calling him directly, telling him straight up, "Don't waste your prime in this mess. Get out while you still can." When champions start warning you to leave, you know things are bad. Meanwhile, back in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski's seat is hotter than an Arizona sidewalk in July. The tension in Cleveland has hit nuclear levels. Assistant coaches are already backing away, whispering about Kevin Stefanski's stubborn streak like it's some contagious curse. Coordinators are polishing up their resumes, lining up Zoom interviews like soldiers bracing for retreat, because everyone knows the ugly truth. If Shedeur bolts, this entire coaching staff is done. No debate, no rescue plan, just gone. And it's not just the coaches sweating bullets. Free agents across the league are watching this meltdown like, nope.
Look, I know we like the young brother Shedeur, but it's time to just stop caring about Cleveland again. Nobody care about Cleveland Browns anyway. Why would they list him as inactive? They don't want that boy on their team. In the NFL, they want the money, but they don't want him around.
Not signing there. The Browns have turned into the NFL's version of a haunted house, shiny on the outside, cursed inside. Even draft prospects are praying they don't hear their name called by Cleveland on draft night, whispering, please, anywhere but there. Because once you're the team that chased away a generational talent, you're not a franchise anymore. You're a warning story told in locker rooms across the league, a ghost tale that starts with, remember what happened to Shedeur? And now, it's all crashing toward the breaking point. The showdown everyone saw coming. The ultimatum has been thrown down like a thunderbolt. Either Stefanski goes or Shedeur Sanders goes. Non-negotiable. Period. Now the spotlight's on Jimmy Haslam, stuck making the ugliest choice of his career. Does he fire his head coach mid-season, blowing up the team but saving the star? Or does he let Shedeur walk, triggering a catastrophe that could haunt Cleveland for a decade? Pick the wrong door, and Jimmy Haslam goes down in history as the guy who fumbled away the best thing Cleveland ever had. No sugarcoating it. Shedeur Sanders holds every single card in this game. That $90 million offer on the table, it's not just about money, it's about respect, validation, and power. Everything Cleveland refused to give him. Sure, the Browns can try to throw matching numbers at him, but they can't match what actually matters: stability, loyalty, and vision. Because let's face it, money means nothing when your own head coach keeps sabotaging his star quarterback. Shedeur already lived through that circus once. He's not about to sign up for a sequel. The whole league is locked in, watching every move like it's the Super Bowl of front office politics. Because this isn't just about Cleveland anymore. This is about control. It's about whether a player with talent, influence, and brains can flip the script and force change when a franchise refuses to do right by him. And don't get it twisted. Other superstars are paying close attention. If Shedeur wins this standoff, it changes everything. It'll rewrite the power dynamic in the NFL. Players will realize they don't just have to play the game, they can own it. If the Browns blow this, they don't just lose Shedeur, they lose their relevance completely, tumbling straight back into that dark pit of NFL irrelevance they've been stuck in for decades. The line in the sand couldn't be clearer. Stefanski or Sanders. No more excuses, no more timeouts. Jimmy Haslam has to choose between a stubborn coach who couldn't tell the difference between a Ferrari and a lawnmower, or the quarterback who just saved his franchise financially, culturally, and competitively. One choice screams vision, the other screams failure. There's no middle ground left to hide behind. And the funniest part, watching the Browns scramble to act like this was all part of some master plan. Please, this is the same franchise that collects quarterbacks like kids collect Pokemon cards, first round, second round, undrafted, just grabbing whoever can throw a football and hoping one of them turns out to be that holographic rare. Let's be honest, if you can throw a spiral and breathe at the same time, odds are you'll eventually take a spin on Cleveland's never-ending quarterback carousel. And now, the Browns are basically on their knees, begging like it's the last scene of a breakup movie. Please, please don't leave us. We'll even give you the owner's parking spot. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is probably stretched out somewhere, shades on, sipping something expensive, scrolling through his phone with a grin like, $90 million? Cute. You know he's checking who's calling. Dallas, Miami, Vegas. He's not just hearing offers, he's hearing promises. The NFL runs on business first, loyalty second, and Shedeur Sanders knows exactly what he's worth. He sells out stadiums like a rock star, moves jerseys by the truckload, and turns every ESPN segment into his personal highlight reel. Meanwhile, Cleveland, they specialize in heartbreak, tailgates, and...
The Ravens plan to take Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, but before Baltimore could turn in the card, the former Colorado star let it be known that he didn't want to be on a roster with Lamar Jackson, where he will be a backup. Another story from another anonymous source, man. What's going on? From Shedeur's perspective, right, obviously a lot of people thought he was a first-round pick. He slipped in the draft, went to the 5th round, but he had the mindset that he was going to come in there and compete for a starting job. And he knew going to Baltimore, he pretty much had no chance, right? Lamar Jackson is 28 years old in the prime of his career, 2-time MVP. I know some may argue Lamar Jackson's play style makes him age in years because most guys who play like that, dual threat guys, don't really play.
Lifelong disappointment disguised as tradition. And the Browns acting like this is some kind of betrayal? Please, betrayal is their brand. This is the same franchise that ditched its own fans in the 90s when the entire team packed up and moved to Baltimore overnight. They crowned Baker Mayfield as their savior one year, then trashed him like he was yesterday's news the next. Then they went all in on Deshaun Watson, handing him a fully guaranteed deal worth more than the GDP of small countries, and then stood there, stunned, when it didn't fix a single thing. Now they've got the nerve to clutch their pearls because Shedeur Sanders might want to play somewhere the sun actually shines more than twice a year. Spare us the drama. Here's the kicker, pun intended. That $90 million offer everyone's screaming about, it's not even wild by today's quarterback standards. If anything, it's starting to look like a bargain bin deal for a generational superstar. You can't buy swagger, leadership, and highlight reel plays at a discount, but apparently Cleveland's still trying to coupon clip their way to success. But here's where it gets brutal. The fans are the real victims in this circus. They've been through decades of heartbreak, false hope, and shattered dreams, and now they're watching the one bright light of their future get pushed out the door. Browns fans are living in full-blown denial, holding on to slogans, memories, and excuses while their golden ticket is halfway out the building. Some folks are swearing this is all just a wild rumor, while others are holding on tight to the fantasy that Shedeur Sanders loves Cleveland like it's some cozy, magical hometown. But let's keep it real. He doesn't love Cleveland. Nobody outside Ohio loves Cleveland. Even half the people from there pack up for Florida the first chance they get. Meanwhile, Browns fans are flooding social media with desperate posts, tweeting stuff like, "He's one of us. He'd never leave the dog pound. Sorry, but 90 million reasons say otherwise." Loyalty sounds great until another franchise starts flashing checks that look like phone numbers. Now just imagine the chaos if Shedeur actually walks away. The Browns front office would flip into full PR spin mode faster than you can say rebuild. They'd put out the usual statement, "We're moving in a new direction." Translation, "He dumped us, but we'll pretend we dumped him first." Then they'd hit the panic button, drafting yet another franchise quarterback, hyping him up as the next savior, and rerunning the same sad movie we've seen a dozen times before. Fast forward 3 years, and the same ending plays again. A fourth quarter collapse and another broken promise. And let's be honest, do you really think Deion Sanders is about to let his son waste his prime years rotting in Cleveland when Miami and Dallas are dangling palm trees, spotlight, and blank checks in front of him? Not a chance. The Browns' next mission? Convince Deion Sanders that Cleveland isn't a football graveyard, and good luck selling that fairy tale. Watching this franchise scramble has become its own guilty pleasure. It's like reality TV with shoulder pads and fumbled passes. You can almost picture the execs huddled up in a panic at 2 a.m., dry erase markers flying, scribbling vision statements on whiteboards, and pitching wild ideas like, what if we turn Lake Erie into a beachfront resort? Because nothing screams desperation louder than realizing the only reason fans even show up on Sundays is already packing his designer bags. And
I'm sick and tired of seeing how the Cleveland Browns and the NFL is treating Shedeur Sanders. This right here got me hotter than fish grease. This got me hotter than Texas on an August noon when it's 111 degrees. This right here is bull dookie. I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying to stay kid friendly. But this is crazy. Bro not even running practice squad. They say he not even practicing.
And the funniest part, the Browns keep rambling about building for the future, like that line still means something. Please, Cleveland's been building for the future since dial-up internet was cutting edge. Every single year, it's the same slogan, the same false hope, and the same crash landing. Fans pour in their hearts, money, and loyalty. And in return, they get recycled pain served up like it's part of the season ticket package. It's always, just wait, next year is our year. But after decades of heartbreak, this isn't a rebuild anymore. It's a scientific experiment testing how much misery a fan base can handle before jumping ship. And now, Shedeur's potential exit is the next brutal chapter in Cleveland's never-ending soap opera. Rival teams are circling like sharks that smell blood, waiting to strike the second he walks out. Picture Shedeur Sanders under those Vegas neon lights, cashing monster checks, rolling dice like a king, and turning the Raiders into the hottest ticket on television. He'd own Sin City overnight. Meanwhile, back in Cleveland, fans are busy trying to convince themselves their backup quarterback doesn't look like a high school substitute teacher lost on the sideline. Here's the cold, brutal truth. The Browns can toss all the cash, fake promises, and polished press releases they want at this mess, but deep down, they already know the truth. Cleveland isn't a destination. It's a detour. It's that pit stop on the NFL map players speed through before reaching the cities they actually want to play in. And Shedeur Sanders, he's not built for detours. He's built for billboards, endorsements, sunshine, and Super Bowl rings, none of which scream Cleveland. But hey, Cleveland does have one thing to fall back on: tradition. Unfortunately, it's a tradition of heartbreak, blown leads, and quarterback drama so repetitive it feels like deja vu every single season. Every year, they talk about rebuilding. Every year they believe, and every year they crash, just like clockwork. The Shedeur saga is simply the latest rerun in the NFL's longest-running soap opera. But this time, the stakes are sky high. $90 million on the table, rival teams circling like sharks, and the clock ticking louder than ever. Egos, politics, and ironclad contracts are twisting this whole saga into a full-blown nightmare. Because this isn't just about football anymore. It's about legacy, pride, and redemption. It's about whether the Cleveland Browns finally learned from decades of failure, or if they're about to hit repeat on the same tragic script all over again. If Cleveland blows this decision, it won't just be another mistake. It'll be the final confirmation that no matter how much talent they stumble into, they'll always find a way to trip over their own shoelaces and faceplant right back into the mud. This is it, the last shot to prove they're not cursed, not clueless, not forever doomed to be the NFL's running joke. The entire league is watching, players are whispering, and fans are praying that maybe, just maybe, Cleveland doesn't fumble this story like they fumbled everyone before. Because if they do, the Browns won't just lose a quarterback. They'll lose their soul, their reputation, and every ounce of credibility they've been fighting to rebuild. So what do you think? Is this the moment Cleveland finally breaks the curse, or just another chapter in the same sad cycle? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and share if you want more breakdowns like this, and I'll see you on the next one.